Welcome back, and thank you for staying with eNCA. So we have a focus for you today, and that is on the country's crippled railway network as commuters are hit with unreliable services to travel to and from work. Big business is also having to deal with huge losses. Last week's derailment of Transnet's coal line saw at least 60 wagons lose 6,000 tons of coal. Business editor Devan Murugan joins us now in studio just to give us more analysis and details. So Devan, of course, apart from Eskom, our rail agency is also seen as one of those inefficiencies that will cost the economy quite a lot.
Yeah, many say, good morning, Maseko, many say next to Eskom, the inefficiencies with Transnet rail and ports are probably the second biggest threat to the country. And you can see why. I mean, these ports, specifically the rail networks, are the arteries of the economy. They take millions of rands of raw material to ports, and there are a number of factors that have brought the system to its knees. You look at cable theft, outdated infrastructure, including wagons. There were strikes, there were floods. But perhaps the most concerning of all is something we heard last week as well, that's sabotage. Let's take a very quick look at the location of the latest derailment. This happened near Ulundi, Maseko, on Tuesday last week. And you'll find that there's a number of corridors that take different types of materials to different destinations across the country. But that corridor in black is your coal corridor. And what it does is it passes through, on its way to Richards Bay, the Ulundi area. And this is what happened on Tuesday. Transnet tells us that following threats of groupings who want a direct slice of Transnet's business, they've had this incident take place on Tuesday, where there was a derailment, and as you correctly point out, around about 60 wagons at least derailed off there. You had thousands of tons of coal off, and the situation for now stands where Transnet is looking into this, speaking to police, speaking to community members. Something's got to be done here.
And of course, this, I imagine, is a huge blow to mining companies.
And you can imagine why. I mean, mining companies make money if they take their coal and export it to the ports, and from the ports it leaves. So because Transnet has now declared itself inefficient to actually do the job, I want to move on to the next slide and show you why. It's declared a force majeure. And what does that do? It basically frees Transnet from the obligations of a contract. It's done this 6 times since July last year. Not just through sabotage, but you had floods, you had strikes, and now, of course, the latest incident on Tuesday, it declares force majeure to bring back the question on the investors. No one wants to throw millions of rands into operations in the country when all you're left with is a contract that says you simply cannot do this anymore. So there's the point of contention when it comes to investors. But there's more than that. The Minerals Council, which represents these big mining companies, has released some staggering figures. Let's take a look. As far as port and rail inefficiencies are concerned, the Minerals Council says it's lost 50 billion rand in lost opportunities only in 2022 alone. So you can see the type of money that's been lost because of inefficiencies in this regard. It doesn't stop there. It also tells us that had the railways worked at optimum working orders, in other words, everything is working right from ports to railways, this would have been the positive implication. You would have had 27 billion rand more in tax intake. Now, that just means more money for schools, hospitals, municipal infrastructure. We're complaining so much about the fact that the coffers are empty. Can you imagine if the railways were sorted out and that tax intake was 27 billion rand more? And then, of course, chronic unemployment. Had the railway lines been working, so does the Minerals Council tell us, you would have had 50,000 more jobs had there been efficiencies right through. Huge implications for the economy.
Sure, quite sad to see 50 billion rand in loss just in 1 year. I wonder how it looks for the previous year, etc. And looking at the fact that Transnet workers also went on strike, and that also meant that there were things that could not be moved. And of course, then there was also the fact that security also went on strike. That meant more vandalism on their infrastructure as well.
Yeah, it's going to take a good partnership, good working order between all the stakeholders to put this right. So going back to our preamble in the conversation, you can see why that this particular issue is second to Eskom to get this actually in working order again, get the economy back on track.
It looks like it's going to take quite a while. I don't mean to be despondent, but thank you very much. Devan Murugan, eNCA business editor, speaking to us there about our rail agency and ports. Looking quite bleak, if you ask me.